Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bangers and Mosh, the podcast with no heroes. I'm Jimmy,
I'm Daz.
I'm Deffer.
and today we are stoked to be joined by Stickman extraordinaire, Mr. Ben Koller. Thanks for
Hey,
joining us this evening, dude.
no problem. It's my pleasure.
Uh, um, Daz has been a fan. We have to say this just first. Daz has been a fan of Converge for, he reckons, you've calculated Daz over half of your life now, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Easily.
So the last week since we emailed you, he's been on the Koller countdown. Um,
Love it.
He's been messaging us every day, 24
Yeah.
hours to go. For like he's so excited about this. So thank you,
Yeah.
man. You've
Yeah.
truly made his life.
You have, dude. Thank you.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, before I was in the band, I was a fan too, so I know how you feel. 95 to 99 before I joined, I was right there with you. So
Nice one.
I've been technically a fan for 30 years.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Wow.
It's crazy. So having said that, then Ben, like, so obviously, Love Is Not Enough has been out a couple of weeks now. Um, it 27 years now in this band and releasing sort of countless records. Do you still get the same buzz when it comes to writing and recording and releasing new albums?
Dude, honestly, like one of the only constants in my life, and this is no joke, has been the feeling of making music and playing music for people. And that feeling, it has not dulled one bit. Especially the feeling of right before you get on stage and playing, doesn't
Yeah.
matter if it's five people or 50,000 people, doesn't matter. Still get that same feeling, the same butterflies, nervousness, anxious energy, all that. Like I still get all that every single show. Doesn't matter what show. So yeah, that has not dulled one bit. And creating music same way, as long as it's something you're super passionate about. And I just try to do that. And everything musical that I do, I just make sure that I'm 100% on board for it. So that has made me stoked on pretty much everything I've ever done. So yeah, no, it feels good, man. Feels great.
Oh, that's brilliant, man. How was like obviously with social media and stuff coming in over over the last decade or whatever. Is there once the album's released, is it a very different thing now to when you first started as to instant reviews popping up and instant like judgment of records and things like that? Do you pay any attention to reviews and things like that and online reactions and things?
Yeah, sure. We have like this whole press rollout and we have, like PR people and interviews and press and yeah, so it's just part of the job. We sort of have to pay attention to it,
Yeah.
because we gotta get the word out there. We gotta promote and it's our passion and it's our creative outlet, but it's also a business. So, it's just part of it. But it's funny, I remember like early 2000s, we put a record out and we were all about the magazines, right? Like whenever we had like a cover of a magazine, it was like this huge event. I'd go to
Yeah.
Barnes and Noble is the big bookstore out here. That was like the shit back then. Now there's still a couple, but not so much. But yeah, like looking out for all the magazine articles and stuff, and the hard goods, the actual press that
Yes.
you can pick
Yeah. Yeah.
up in your hands. It's totally changed to yeah, it's like Instagram, Facebook, and unfortunately, it has shifted over to social media because that's just the way everyone finds their news and consumes everything. And so. I feel real hot and cold about it. It's like, on one side, it's amazing to reach so many people so easily and instantaneously and all over the world,
Yeah.
Indonesia and Australia and Boston and, the UK, like wherever, just to be able to reach everyone is incredible. But, it's lost some of that magic, some of the mystique is gone, unfortunately. So yeah, a very love-hate relationship with social media, but it is what it is, and I feel like people are starting to dial that back a little bit, and they're
Yeah.
they're seeing that maybe these companies are getting a little too out of control, and the surveillance and the and
Yeah.
the tech takeover, especially in young
Yeah.
kids, is becoming pretty apparent that it's
Yeah.
not the healthiest thing.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see a little pushback. I can see like people are starting to buy CDs again, going back to like
Oh
original
yeah.
physical media. So yeah, it's a struggle, but it's a necessary evil.
Yeah. I mean, you can't see it, but I've got You Fail Me up there on my CD stand up there. So it's
Oh, awesome.
um so after the sort of the experimentation and the the collaborative nature of Blood Moon, was the mission statement for this album to sort of distill Converge back down to its sort of purest form?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, working with Chelsea and Ben and Brodsky on the Blood Moon thing,
Mm.
you just naturally morph everything to fit the collective seven people. So um it's still convergy, but with those other influences there, it's just naturally going to morph into this totally different animal. So when it was just the four of us again, it just felt like, yeah, it felt like, Converge classic again.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's not like we put an effort into saying like let's not sound like Blood Moon and all. It was just what we wanted to sound like. So yeah, just naturally what we were feeling, just as musicians and artists, and just it came out the way it came out, just doing what we want to do.
Oh, it's such a great album, man. I mean, like, Daz, you said it was your favorite since like Axe to Fall or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely for me sounds like it went back to that sort of era, like, Jane Doe, Axe to Fall, that kind of You Fail Me, like just raw aggression. I mean, it's literally like balls to the wall in it, that album. You kind of get a little bit of space to breathe with the instrumental, which thank God you put that in because we all needed it. And then it's just straight in again in it, and it's just
Yeah.
like this is the best shit ever.
Yeah, walk around, get some water, hydrate,
Yeah, yeah,
stretch a little bit. Yeah, take some breaths. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Um, so Ben, how did I wanted to dive into like the songwriting a little bit. How does the songwriting generally sort of work in Converge? Do you all chip in ideas and flesh out songs together?
Yeah, it's all very much the four of us in a room. Initial
Oh,
ideas
wicked.
come from, riffing in your bedroom or, just one guitar riff or one drum idea. So it always starts with, one little thing, and then we all get together in a room and we all just kind of hammer it out and bounce ideas off each other. Sometimes argue, sometimes the songs come easy, it's all over the map.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very much the four of us in a room all collectively making the songs come together.
Yeah, that's wicked. So does that, so when it comes to the drumming specifically, do you have sort of artistic license to do whatever you feel is best to fit the song? Or do the other guys have sort of ideas, maybe that feel shouldn't be there, or maybe this bit needs to be half time, or
Occasionally, we'll give each other, instrumentation ideas, but I think the real conflict comes with arranging. Because
okay.
it's like, do you want this part to happen twice? You want this part to happen four times? Do you want two verses or two choruses? So a lot of the contention comes there. But as far as giving each other room to create in our own little zones, we're very much like hands off. When Jake is doing vocals and writing lyrics, like we're like, dude, do your thing. Like,
Yeah.
we trust you. I'm not getting like, oh, I don't know about that one line about the dead dog or whatever. No, don't do that. No, it's very much like total like creative freedom.
Yeah.
And the only time some criticism comes up is when it's not like a specific part on a specific instrument. It's like I don't know if this riff in this song really works here. It's more like a general overall feel thing.
Yeah.
It's not like, hey, that little thing you're doing on guitar sucks, man. Don't do that. No, it's never like that. It's much healthier and much more giving each other creative space, because when you have like a tyrant, in a band like this, if you have someone that's too tyrannical, it just creates resentment, and it can get pretty ugly. So there's very much like a respect of one another's creative space in that way.
Yeah, no, that's cool, man. Just something you touched on there, but is like when you said like, oh yeah, we'll give each other feedback on how many times a riff should repeat or something like that. I've always said Converge are the absolute masters of playing a riff that's better than any riff any other band have written, and you do it once or twice, and then it's like, what?
Yeah,
Like, there's one on the Dusk in Us in Broken by Light.
yeah, at
It's
the
like
end. Yeah.
it's like the Slayer part at the end, and there's like a riff that's incredible, and you do it once, and it's you're the masters of teasing that riff out and making people go, "What the fuck?" And then it doesn't come back again. It's just
We always talk about that riff all
we
the time,
all the
all the
time we
time.
talk about that riff.
Well, I think one cool thing about this record is we have milked some parts a little bit more.
Yeah,
Where I
yeah,
mean, we the discussion has definitely been had. We're like, man, like you said, that riff and Broken by That, like, oh, maybe we should have reprised that or had it go four times instead of two. And so some of these like heavier parts that we love on this record, we definitely made an effort to like let's milk this a little bit more. We don't have to just like play it once and then, light speed go on to the next thing.
yeah.
And that's been a natural kind of evolution of the band too, is I think our songwriting has gotten a lot better since like when I joined, late 90s when the style in metalcore was very like riff soup. There's a song
Oh,
on
yeah.
there's a song on Petition in the Empty Sky called Dead, and I remember learning that for the first time, in like 99, and not one single riff repeats, and I think it's like riff A through riff H, and it's just set, like nothing repeats. There's no songwriting whatsoever. It's just like here's riffs that are sort of in time with each other, and we'll just play them one after another, and then the song's over.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
we I think we've come a long way with that. Like, but it was just learning what an intro is, what a verse, a chorus, what a bridge is. We just didn't know. It was just like, oh,
Yeah.
we got riffs. Let's all shove them together and make this riff soup out of it.
Yeah, no, I love the where you've gone on the last few records because I was quite a late comer to Converge, and it was the Dusk in Us that really like cemented Converge as like a band that I love. So that Blood Moon into this now is like, oh, I can't get enough of those sort of them three records especially. So um just touching on that, there's a wanted to ask you, there's a breakdown at the end of To Feel Something on this record and the little drum fill at the start of it. Is that a little tip of the hat to Lombardo on Ghost of War?
Yeah, man. I mean, the big Lombardo fills are some of the most legendary metal drum
Yeah.
fills of all time. Yeah, it's funny because if you take like this is maybe a little in the weeds with drumming, but if you take like a normal single stroke fill, which is just right, left, right, left, right, left, just like fast rolls,
Yeah.
maybe a normal fill would be like, oh, you go snare and then rack tom and then floor tom, and you just go like kind of like this, like
Yeah.
very symmetrical, right? Lombardo would just be like, I'm just gonna make my hands go into as many different places as possible, still playing those single stroke rolls, and it's just gonna sound like it almost sounds like a mistake, but it's really just like I can't say enough good things about Lombardo, man. Yeah, what a freak. So Lombardo is often referenced for sure. So definitely tip of the cap to Mr. Lombardo.
That's so
And
sick.
we added some rototoms here and there on this record, which
Oh,
I've never
I
done. It's been
love that
fun.
sound.
Yeah.
Like a little Neil Peart kind of but I guess Lombardo also, he had just so many, the endless 8 inches all the way down to 20-inch
Yeah.
floor tom and everything in between. So yeah.
I love the similarities in your playing in that you both sort of, it sounds like it can go off the rails at any second, but it never does. And as a listener, it keeps you like gripped, keeps you gripping your chair or your headphones because you're expecting it to fly off the handle, but the control and the precision, it's just you guys, especially you two, are the two that I would pinpoint who do that so well.
Oh, thank you, man.
No, it's great to hear, man. So just on the sort of like recording process over the years, having total control over like the recording and the production process and that now, it must make the whole process just so much more smoother, doesn't it? Enjoyable, and Kurt already knowing the tones you want and how you're going to achieve them, and not having to try and get through to a third party what you're trying to achieve on a record.
Yeah, the positive and negative thing about having that freedom is you can, the positive is you can take as long as you want, and the negative is you can take as long as you want. So it can't take 8 years to finish something. But that's just I think having any sort of like album deadlines for like, oh, you guys need a new record in 3 years or in 2 years. That's just never we've just never rolled like that.
Yeah,
Naturally, when we were in our early 20s, 30s, before we had kids, we were just way more productive. We'd go on longer tours. The time between albums would be shorter just because we were playing more together. Just we had more
yeah,
time. So now that we don't have as much time, we have so many other responsibilities and other bands and other jobs and families. We're lucky to be able to go at our own pace. And me living on the West Coast, they live on the East Coast. just figuring out, times on the calendar, like, oh, here's a week here, let's get together and just go, go hard at it. And then whenever the record's ready, it's ready. So having that freedom is really good for us.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So you touched on sort of Jacob's lyrics and vocals and stuff earlier. When it comes to the art and the visuals, do you guys is it the same? Do you have any input, or do you just trust Jacob's vision when it comes to these?
Yeah, we've always just trusted that it's going to be awesome, and then it always is.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's really been no need for intervention. He'll send us kind of early versions of stuff and be like, oh yeah, this direction's amazing. Like, love this. So yeah, very much always just trust that he's going to create amazing visuals, and yeah, always comes through. Occasionally there'll be like a t-shirt design where we're like, but that's it's so different because you can make print it once and then nobody buys it and then you never make it again. Like
Yeah.
early 2000s, we had this My Great Devastator shirt with like this demon thing on it, and it was like bright like construction worker orange. I mean, it was the most orange thing I've ever seen in my fucking life. And and there was a yellow one as well, the most bright yellow, horrible color like I've ever seen. And no one bought them. We ended up just like stuffing them in the bass drum to, muffle the sound. Uh, but aside from that, it's always been like, no, no, full trust, do your thing. I know it's going to be sick. And yeah, he always comes through.
That's so cool, mate. There's not many people in bands who have like a legendary artist, a legendary producer, like in their band, just taking care of business. It must be such a weight off the shoulders of everybody involved.
I think not having too many other uh, voices, on your shoulders, talking in your ear about making decisions is pretty helpful in just making the art as pure as it can be.
Yeah.
There's no other outside managers or producers or label people saying like, oh, you got to make this more mainstream. You got to, we want to have a Linkin Park chorus here. It'll sell more singles. Or there's never been any of that. But lucky for this band, I really think everyone has just really come into their own with just the tones and the playing. And I've been saying this a lot about Nate and his bass playing on this record. It's my favorite Nate bass playing of any
Mm.
record so far. He's just so dialed in, like just tonally and playing wise. Certain moments on the record, listen back the first time, like Jesus, dude, like it's just right in the pocket. Everything played perfect, and Kurt and Jake as well. Just I feel like it's been a big level up instrumentally and like tonally. I feel like the tones are
Oh yeah.
just so dialed in. Like
Yeah.
it's just so like full and pleasing to listen to. But it took it took a ton of work to get there. Between writing and then trying everything out and then making demos and then recording and then mixing and mastering. Like there's a lot that goes into this shit. Start to finish. So yeah, I'm really pleased at how it came out.
Oh yeah, it sounds incredible, man. Like on Gilded Cage, where it's kind of you and Nate for the majority of the music is. It's one of my favorite things in music when a guitar drops out and there's just the bass and the drums. It gives such an impactful sound. So yeah, that song especially really sort of caught my ear when I listened to this album.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I really like the room mics on that song.
Sounds
Just
massive.
just you can hear the sound of the room like in the
Yeah,
snare.
yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, tip of the cap to Nate and Kurt, for the just the tonal perfection that we strive for on this one.
Yeah, and nailed as well. Yeah, strive for
Yeah.
and nailed.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a brilliant album, man. So Ben, we wanted to get into a little bit into your sort of journey into music and stuff. Something we always start with is did you have a lot of music around you growing up as a kid? Like in the house, was the radio on? Was the records playing and things like that all the time?
Yeah, a lot of music, just always in the car. I remember my dad had one of the first like portable CD players in the car
Oh, cool.
with just the most horrible CD collection. But I loved it. It was like he had like all the great 70s bands albums that were the worst album that band ever put out. It was like And then there was like Foreigner, and then like some Fleetwood Mac here and there. But yeah, there's always music playing. My mom would play a little bit of classic acoustic guitar, like Joan Baez kind of thing.
Oh, nice.
I got super obsessed with the New Kids on the Block when I was like 6 years old, like super obsessed. Like I was the kid at the mall with like a New Kids on the Block jacket with. Remember the giant pins that were like this big?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
With
Yeah, yeah.
like two giant New Kids on the Block pins. I went to like two. I remember I went to two concerts when I was like 6, 7, 8 years old, and then that just naturally progressed into like Michael Jackson, and then all the hair metal stuff came along. Then I
Oh,
got
sick.
obsessed with Guns N' Roses and Skid Row and Motley Crue and all that whole MTV 80s videos on all day
Yeah.
kind of obsession with music. Yo MTV Raps. I mean. MTV, I wish like, you know, teenagers now that love music, I wish I could somehow get in a Oculus and take them back to the exact feeling of an all-day MTV stream
Oh,
of
Yeah.
me never-ending music. I mean, it
yeah.
really was such a fucking crazy awesome time for music. And the world premieres of new videos, it was like
Yep.
such an event. Like, oh my God, Motley Crue's got a new video. And then seeing like Dr. Feelgood for the first time, I was like, what? They were like little movies, or like
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
November Rain, Guns N' Roses November Rain. I mean, when those would premiere, it was like such a crazy special event. And they were so larger than life back then.
Oh, I
Yeah.
hear you, man. I think we're about the same age, Ben. So I was born in 1980.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah, same with you, Def, wasn't it? And
Yeah.
we talk about it all the time, how literally every one of our favorite bands when we were growing up was discovered through Headbangers Ball or MTV2 or we had the box over here, which was streaming. You could ring up and request
Oh
videos to
yeah, that
come
was a
on.
classic.
Yeah, that was brilliant as well. So it was like,
Interactive.
yeah, yeah, I hear you, man. Like, there's so many memories attached to seeing those videos on MTV and stuff. It is such a shame what's sort of happened to that.
Yeah, it's like I wish there was more of a happy medium, but
Yeah,
like I said, I really do think there's a pendulum swing happening, going back to just a more analog, less complicated world of algorithms and streaming. And what I really long for, and my kids also have expressed this, is that we want a library of curated things that don't have anything to do with suggested algorithmic. Here, put this in your face. Like I feel like the
yep.
iPod Classic was like the peak of like the analog and digital technology meeting in a way that was still pure
Yeah,
and not like so surveilled and ever changing. How you're just getting updates all the time, and the records keep getting remastered, and that finally, I still have my 180 gig, I think, iPod Classic. It
I've
still
still got
works.
mine. I've still got mine, dude. I
Yeah.
use it.
And
I
I'm
use it quite a
yeah,
lot while I'm working at home.
yeah, man. I look back through that catalog. I'm like, oh, this is only me. This is only stuff that I wanted. And
Yep.
once that file is in there, it's not going to change.
Yeah.
And it hasn't changed. And now records are just getting remixed and remastered over and over again. And it's it's crazy, but I've heard that now certain labels or streaming services or combination of both are deciding to kind of quantize old records from like 70s, 80s, 90s. So take Slayer, I don't know, Rain and Blood, or one of the classic Rick Rubin records where
Mm.
Lombardo's just going nuts and the fills are kind of not in time, but it works so perfectly, right? They're actually trying to put this stuff on the grid to make it more pleasing for like,
Oh my
for
God.
for the modern music listener. We are quantizing and putting everything on the grid because if we don't, they get confused and angry. And this is the kind of thing that's happening, is like they're literally auto-tuning and quantizing old music to make it more kind of agreeable with technology and where AI is heading, and everyone's ears are changing now to hear imperfections and just be so turned off by it.
It's
But I
so
mean, go back,
bad.
Yeah.
dude, you go back and listen to Maggie May by Rod Stewart, and it's like that is the most out of tune, shitty sounding fucking song, and it's a classic, incredible song.
Yeah.
And they were probably just like drunk and didn't tune their guitars or whatever, but like people don't understand, like that's part of the part of the charm was it felt real,
Yeah.
and the
Yep.
the realness is disappearing, and it's driving me nuts. And I think that's the reason why so many people are going back to finding physical media, like tape trading's coming back and CDs and vinyl and yeah, man, I want to go back. I want to go back to
Yeah.
MTV and then my iPod Classic and just like, okay, can we stop there?
Yeah, that was
And yeah,
peak.
it
That was
was
peak
peak, man.
media.
I really think so.
We
1990,
all
I mean, dude, 1992, going to the movies to see Terminator 2 and You Could Be Mine,
Oh,
oh
Yes.
mate.
starts playing Eddie Furlong on his motorcycle. It's like,
Yeah.
it,
dude,
films
if
could have
that's like, I
stopped
don't know, I
there.
can't find another peak. That's my peak. I mean, maybe there's another moment, but that moment was
Yeah,
like, uh, absolutely mind blowing. Yeah, you can't replicate that feeling.
no. Def, we've
Yeah,
said that's the best use of a song in a film, haven't we?
Yeah. Can't
You
beat it.
you could be mine is just it's unbelievable.
perfect
Yeah,
for the most
it
part.
absolutely perfect. So dude, you sort of said like, the hair metal stuff was your introduction to say heavier sort of guitar music and things. Who
Yeah.
were then the gateway bands that got you into the more extreme side of music?
So then, I guess the natural progression after there was, grunge came along, and then it was the Nirvana, Soundgarden, Rage Against the Machine obsession,
Yeah,
like the high school grunge heaviness, and then through that you could kind of read the liner notes on CDs and be like, oh, they mention
yeah,
this band called the Melvins, like, oh, like what's the Melvins? And then you find out like, oh, there's this label called Sub Pop and there's all these other bands, and then same thing with like SST records, and then just doing a deep dive into the record labels. But I think what really did it for me was going to like local shows, like local punk, hardcore, alternative, metal, whatever kind of shows. I grew up on Cape Cod in my high school years, so I didn't really have access to that good of a local scene, but there were a lot of bands. There were like a lot of bad punk, hardcore, kind of experimental mathcore kind of bands around, and we all just played with each other constantly. And when I started my first band and started to play shows and go to shows, I think that's when I really started to fall in love with hardcore and punk and that whole world and the community and just how open it was and how accepting, and you felt like it was more about the music. And yeah, I was just hooked after that.
yeah, that's killer, man. So did you start, was drumming something you picked up in school? Did you do music and like lessons in school, or was that um, once you sort of started going to shows, you thought, do you know what, I could give that a go.
Yeah, I mean, I played music all through high school.
Cool.
Anything that I could play drums in, I would play, like concert band, jazz band, the Blues Brothers cover band, the band that plays
Oh,
at hockey games, like any kind of
wicked.
drumming that I could do, I would do. But before high school, when I was in eighth grade, so I was like 12, I guess 12, 13. My best friend at the time was like, I'm playing guitar, you're playing drums. And I remember we were listening, we were in his bedroom, we were listening to Master of Puppets, and he just decided he's going to be the guitar player, I'm going to be the drummer. And I said, okay. So then I got the worst drum kit ever and just, started to just try to play riffs, try to play Ramon songs, Sex Pistols, that kind of stuff. Just put the headphones on and tried to figure it out. And then I eventually got a little bit of teaching, a little bit of lessons. For like a year or two, I was taking private lessons. I didn't really like it very much because it was too like it was too straight. Like there was no punk,
Yeah.
metal, hardcore, or anything. It was just like learn these rudiments, and it just wasn't fun. So I just opted for just playing live as much as possible, starting as many bands as I could, just jamming with friends.
That's
Just
so
That's kind
sick.
of yeah, that was kind of my education. Just play as much as possible.
That's so cool, man. Like that one friend who told you you were going to be a drummer has like mapped out the rest of your the rest
Yeah.
of your life.
Yeah, shout out to Dan Miller from Sandwich, Massachusetts, for telling me
Look,
I have to play drums, and me just going, okay.
look at me now, Dan. Look at me now.
Yeah.
It's lucky you had a bit of a did you find that you got when you sat behind the kit band that you could figure things out and it was like, do you know what, I could do this? Because Def, me and you both tried to play drums in school and we couldn't get our arms and our legs to do different things at the
I'm
like
always envious when people say they just got a set of sticks and then just started playing because it's like, well, we tried that and we can do it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no, it's funny, dude. Like I honestly don't think I have that much natural talent. When I started out, I was like, I'm never gonna be able to do this. And I would watch the kids in school that knew how to play drums. There was this one dude who knew how to play a Rush song, and there was
Oh
one
wow.
guitarist that knew how to play the Rush riff. And I would
yeah,
just watch it and be like, there's no way, because he was doing like a little bell pattern that wasn't straight. And looking back, it's like one of the most basic drum beats ever. But when you see someone actually play and you don't know what you're doing,
yeah,
you're just like in awe, you know?
yeah,
And lucky for me, I was trying to play like very basic songs at first. So I think that was a good like way to kind of ramp up and not get too frustrated, is have that feeling of, oh, maybe I can do this, because I
yeah,
was listening to like very rudimentary punk bands where you could pretty easily figure out, that just same Ramones beat, in every single song, or
yeah.
like, like beat on the brass. That's literally like snare, 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 snare. Like it's just so basic. So I think that helped in giving me the confidence to think that I could maybe do this also.
Right. That's where we went wrong, mate, because we tried to just start by playing Rust in Peace or something like
We
that. That's
did.
that's where we've
Yeah.
gone
Oh,
wrong.
dude,
Yeah.
fuck that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've tried to go
Bad
to from
choice.
yeah, we've tried to go from naught
It's
to
only
Nick
taken
Menza
us
in
30
60
years.
seconds.
We've just realised 30 years too
Yeah,
late.
Yeah, don't try and be Nick Menza, kids. As soon as you
Yeah.
pick up a stick, that's what we're saying.
You were
yeah.
like the
It's
kids
gonna
that
take some
used to
time.
used to
Yeah.
start like karate lessons. They just like show me how to like do a fireball. Like straight
Yeah,
off, like
start me
first
off
lesson.
on
It's like,
black
what are you
belt and
talking
up.
Yeah,
about?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
exactly
maybe
that.
start with a little Weezer, a little Ramones,
Uh,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, some basic beats.
Yeah, work you out from there. Um,
Yeah,
like, did you ever imagine, Ben, when you started playing and you were playing them earlier bands and stuff, that you build a career from like this extreme, like this visceral music that Converge make, and All Pigs Must Die and bands like that that you've been in as well. Like, it must be mad to think that you've built a career from playing that abrasive sort of music.
yeah. I never thought about that side of it. I never thought about making money. I remember the first ever Converge show I played. They gave me $100 bill, and I had never seen that much money in my life. I never had that much money, and I was like, holy shit! I just got paid for playing a show, and like I was not expecting anything. I wasn't even going to ask for anything. I was just so thrilled to be
Yeah,
there.
Yeah.
Like going from just punk and hardcore shows where there was no money. If there was money left over in the end from the pot or whatever, you'd maybe get gas money, or they'd buy you food or something like that. So actually getting paid for music was just such a crazy concept. And as we kept going, then it became apparent like, oh shit, we have to pay attention to this, because now there's money happening. We're going on tour, we're getting paid. It's all cash that we like shove into our pillowcases or whatever. And unfortunately, this is going to be a necessary evil of doing this, is we're going to have to start paying attention to this, because if we don't, someone else will.
yeah,
And
Yeah,
and
yeah,
right.
and that's the biggest problem that every band has, is not wanting to pay attention to that side of things and then getting fucked over. And every band has that story
oh
of
yeah. There's a
like
million
who
brilliant
fucked you
bands.
over.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
A million brilliant bands have died and because of that, because of that side of things. So, um, yeah, it's yeah, like you said, it's just a necessary evil, unfortunately, isn't it? Like, I saw an interview you did recently where you were saying like you've got the money's the evil side of things here, and then the creativity is the beautiful side of it there, and unfortunately, they have to meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, and I really believe that. Pink Floyd said it, and money is the root of all evil, and yeah, I still believe that it's responsible for every war and every horrible thing. But
Yeah.
if you don't pay attention to it, then someone else is gonna swoop in and take care of it for you.
Yeah,
And yes, that's why I started Heavy Music Collective with some amazing people. It's mainly to educate musicians, songwriters, bands about that side of things. And I'm kind of the guinea pig in this whole thing, because I'm also learning. And before I started this, I thought I knew a lot about that side, and it turns out there's a lot I didn't know, and I'm still learning. And it's a journey, and you need people helping you along, and you need to advocate for yourself, and you need to ask questions, and you need things to be clear and transparent
Yeah.
on that side, because a lot of people, managers and the business side people will take advantage of your lack of knowledge of the situation, and will just, take it upon themselves to get in there and find where the money is, and then take it. I was talking to a band recently about management, and their manager was stealing their mechanical royalties from under them for years, and they didn't know,
Shit.
because
Fucking hell, man.
because because in the United States now, the songwriter royalty goes to an NGO, a non-government organization called Mechanical Licensing Collective. And so now when you write a song and put it on the internet, gets streams and people are listening to it, the mechanical royalty goes into this pot with this nonprofit, and you have to go and find the money and get it. And so what this manager did was he registered all the band songs under his name, and they
Oh,
didn't know, because they didn't know what the MLC was, or what the mechanical royalties were. And that manager was like, okay, if you guys don't want it, I'll take it. And so,
oh
th-
my
so this is the kind of
God,
stuff.
dude.
Crazy
This is the
fuck.
kind of stuff bands deal with, and there's other royalties that you get on the road. Performance royalties for your live sets, like in Europe and stuff, where same thing. There's money that gets put into the pot for that's part of the breakdown, part of the budget, and certain promoters are just seeing that money that's supposed to go to the performing rights organization. They go, I'm just gonna not pay the PRO. I'm just gonna put it in my own pocket. So there's dozens of instances of this same thing happening in a different way in this industry. So, I really think the music industry is one of the worst for just people getting totally taken advantage of and
Yeah.
stolen from. And
Yeah.
yeah, it really sucks. It really sucks. And so all we can do is just try to educate people. And I feel like maybe I'm entering the more mentorship years of my life, where I've been doing this for 30 years, and I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of bands break up, and I've seen, people pass away, and I've seen managers fuck people over, and venues, and I've seen all the ugliness. And now I know how they did it, why they did it, the mechanisms behind everything.
Mm.
So you just have to, if you're going to try to do this seriously for a living, you really have to try and educate yourself, because if not, you're just opening the door to, like, yes, please reach in my pocket and take all this that I worked so hard for.
Well,
That's the
it's
Fuck.
thing.
doing the Lord's work, man.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
feel like having a band as respected and someone as sort of respected as you in the hardcore metal world will be, people, young kids will sit up and take notice and listen and hopefully sort of, reach out and do their homework on these things. So, they don't
yeah.
suffer them same hardships because, yeah, it's sad, man. So on a slightly cheerier note, then Ben, when you look at your career over the years, are there albums that stick out to you that you're sort of most proud of being a part of?
Um, yeah, there have been smaller bands that I wish could have continued, and there's certain records and certain bands catalogs that I think are great. But with, Converge, especially, I'm super super proud of each one for different reasons. And I think that kind of speaks to what I was saying before about just taking our time and making sure that what we put out is exactly what we want to put out.
Yeah,
And so I think we're pretty lucky to have that luxury. So there's really no Converge album that stands out to me as like my my favorite or least favorite. They all kind of switch spots in the hierarchy you know, depending on my mood. But no, and All Pigs Must Die, same thing. I love everything we've done. Mutoid, same thing. I love everything we've done.
yeah.
The one band I wish that we could have done more, and maybe we still can do more, is Killer Be Killed, because
Oh,
the record Killer Be Killed put out during the pandemic is, at the time, was probably my favorite thing that I've ever put out
oh
as an
wow.
artist. Was being with those guys who are just such legends in their own right. Like, I felt
Oh hell
like
yeah.
I'm not worthy. Just Max Cavalera is one of the sweetest people and one of the most legendary metal artists of all time. And
Yep.
and and Troy is just a powerhouse of an individual. Say, his voice is so distinct and incredible, and Greg, same thing, just so fucking talented and creative. And and all of us together was just, it was such a treat. And unfortunately, we're all so goddamn busy that it's really hard to get together. But we still push to make something happen eventually. And yeah, hopefully someday we can get that train rolling again. But yeah, it's hard having, irons all over in every fire all over the place,
Yeah.
having
Absolutely.
multiple people all doing the same thing. It's like becomes like a calendar nightmare.
Oh, I can imagine. Like, I love that album. The Dream Gone Bad off that album should be the biggest song in the world.
I like
It's
that one.
such
Yeah.
it's such an incredible song, and like, Def, your hero is Max Cavalera, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, like, you're talking to someone who's in a band with Max Cavalera.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, I could say Max is like one of my favorite people on the planet. He's such like an authentic fan of music,
Yeah.
and makes me feel like a bad like metal fan just because he's so invested still in enjoying and listening to
Yeah,
all kinds of weird like new bands, small bands, big bands, and yeah, he's just such a fan still. And to be doing it for this long and still be that invested in it and get that stoked on it, it's super inspiring. I remember we've only done one tour and it was in Australia, and I remember we were playing one song, and he's playing guitar, and there's a guitar part he's supposed to be playing, but he just got so stoked he just stopped playing and just was like get like doing crowd work basically, just getting the crowd pumped up, and then we're just like, you're supposed to be playing like a part, man, but he got so stoked he just like threw his guitar down. It was like
Oh, that's
that's so
so
very cool.
sick.
Yeah, dude, Max is he's the goat. He really
yeah,
Yeah.
is.
he
Yeah.
is, man. We saw Nail Bomb finally, like, in Bloodstock last year, and he was like the littlest kid just on
Yeah.
Christmas morning up on that stage, and like,
Yeah.
it's fucking, like you said, it's super inspiring. Um, Dude, so you're a man who tours a lot, and you have toured a lot over the years. Do you have any like comfort TV shows and films and albums that you sort of, when you're passing away the time, are there things that you go back to over and over again to sort of pass the time on the road?
Sure. I could watch Game of Thrones front to back over and over again. Band of Brothers,
Oh,
same
Band
thing.
of Brothers.
It's great.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
very, very, very comforting. And apparently that's like a very ADHD thing, is to go back and listen to things that are going to be comforting and non-threatening. And
Yeah,
yeah, so definitely guilty of that. Like music wise, honestly, on the road, I like anything that's like soothing and calming and not loud.
Yeah.
yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, just like, sound check and then the show. And it's like at the end of the night, it's like the last thing you want to do is like listen to any loud music. So yeah, more so like comforting TV shows and movies, watch, the Hangover for the 200th time or
Yeah,
something,
Oh,
something,
yeah, yeah,
legend.
something silly like that. But yeah, I like non-metal genres as far as listening to music, anything like, I don't know, like Budo's Band is a favorite on the road, just kind of like Afro funk, just like something with a little groove,
yeah.
something to
Cool.
kind of it's almost like background music, but it's like
Yes,
something
yeah,
to get you in the mood a little bit.
yeah,
Or like, old Pink Floyd records or whatever.
Oh,
Or
can't go
like
wrong with that.
Fleetwood Mac, ELO, kind of like softer, more analog sounding like 70s rock. Like I'm
yeah.
really appreciative to have those albums in my life.
Yeah, I feel like you hit an age and you start to really appreciate those. I've been like trying to dive back into, you know, classic records that everyone says you need to hear before you die. I've been trying to like delve my way back through some of those over from the 70s and things like that. And is you do, as you get a little bit older, appreciate those sort of those sounds a bit more, I feel.
Yeah, I found it really surprising how much I hated certain things when I was a kid and
Yeah.
how much I fucking love them now.
Yeah,
Like I
man.
Yeah.
never, like I never liked Toto. And
Yeah.
just the other day, this is like within the past couple weeks, that Hold the Line song came on. I was like,
That's a
fuck,
tune. It's a tune.
dude, that 6/8 down,
Yeah.
down, count, count, count. Like, and then I went
Oh,
on a little
yeah.
dive on that drummer. Apparently, the drummer is like one of the most legendary like 70s rock guys. I'm totally spacing on his name, but also Kenny Loggins. I've
Oh,
become obsessed with Kenny Loggins lately because I've always loved the Top Gun soundtrack,
Yeah.
but then he had like a more singer-songwritery solo career before that, and he was like they called him like the king of the movie soundtrack in the 80s. And dude,
Yes, yeah, yeah,
Footloose,
yeah,
Danger Zone, Playing
yeah.
with the Boys from Top Gun. I
Yeah.
mean, and then like a bunch of, but then a bunch of children's music. I mean, and then you see him on the cover of the Greatest Hits record, and he's just like the most beautiful, comfortable looking man. Like he had the face and the expression of a man who knew he was just destroying it as a songwriter
Yeah.
and was probably slaying with the ladies, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he could
Legend.
and he could walk down the street without getting mobbed and like people asking for pictures and autographs because no one knew who he was.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I never really knew what he looked like. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
yeah,
So you can kind of still be living anonymously a little bit.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, true.
The first Leonard Skinner record is the one I've been obsessed with since I've been delving back. Pronounced Leonard Skinner is
Oh, amazing record. Yeah.
incredible record. Yeah, it's so good. Just a quick fun fact: I live about 20 miles north of London, and Band of Brothers was filmed in the village around where I live in
Oh man,
Hertfordshire in England. Yeah.
Was
I
it?
want to go on a Band of
Yeah.
Brothers walking tour.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Next time you're in London, we're only 20 minutes on the train
Oh,
away.
man.
I'll take you around.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's mad. This is an old aerodrome around near me, and Steven Spielberg came out. That's they filmed a lot of Saving Private Ryan and stuff
Yeah, there's a
around,
lot of films they've
around
done
there as
there,
well.
isn't it?
Yeah, there was. Yeah, it was really
Yeah,
cool.
I got to meet one of the main characters because he's a parent at my kid's school, and I punished him a little bit.
Oh
I was
wow.
just like, I was
You
just
got
like,
to take the
dude,
chance.
I was just like, dude, you got to give me something. Like, what was that like? And he was cool about it, but I was definitely super fanning a little bit
Ah,
over something that most people probably don't super fan over at all.
Oh, he probably loved that. He was probably really appreciative of it.
Yeah, no, he was cool about it. Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah,
wicked.
what a show. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, right, dude. So to finish up, then, we wanted to just ask you, obviously, as a legendary Sticksman yourself, who makes up your Mount Rushmore of drummers?
Oh man. Okay, let
Any
me think about
genre,
that. You
doesn't
know,
matter.
this one's really hard. I mean, I definitely have like three or four. Let's see. So always Bonham. There's always Bonham.
Yeah,
John Bonham, 100%. He's there. Lombardo, we talked about before. Lombardo's there. Keith Moon might be there for me, but my number one is probably Bill Stevenson from Black Flag and Descendants because
oh wow.
he Descendants is one of the first punk bands I got really obsessed with, like when I was like 13, 14 years old. And his fast right hand was like kind of responsible for my, a huge part of my style, like that kind of just the super fast single stroke rolls,
Yeah,
this kind of fast surf style, but also like kind of blazing punk beats and just really weird creative kind of stuff in Black Flag. So maybe those four, but over the years, I've seen so many amazing drummers and have been on tour with so many amazing drummers. It's really hard to say because, I just saw Joey C from, the Bronx and Circle Jerks and
oh,
Danzig and
yeah,
and he's just fucking like an incredible punk hardcore drummer and just Braun from Mastodon. I mean, it's impossible to
yeah,
Mario from Gojira. Just
yeah,
seeing so many of these guys, it's hard to narrow down because they're all amazing in their own different ways. But I guess as far as like classic, like
yeah.
kind of formative old school, yeah, I'd say Mooney, Bonzo, Bill Stevenson, Dave Lombardo might be the big four for me.
Perfect.
Yeah,
And you also named my favorite drummer in Bram. So that's
yeah,
yeah, that's good. Yeah, he's a dream guest I'd love to have on here at some point. But yeah, dude, that's a great Mount Rushmore and great way to end our chat this evening, dude.
yeah.
Thank you again. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a real honor to have you on, man.
yeah. My pleasure. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'll put in the good word with Braun for you.
Oh,
Oh,
dude,
Oh, come on.
you have no
oh
idea.
my God.
He'd probably pop up on the screen and I'd just faint.
Yeah,
That's what I've been trying. I've been trying to make sure that I was like, Daz, you're not going to faint later, are you? When Ben comes on, so
yeah. I've tried so hard. I've done well.
yeah, Ben, thanks very much.
Cheers,
It's
bro.
been a real pleasure. Yeah, Love Is Not Enough is out now. If you haven't heard it already, please sort your life out and go and do that.
Yeah.
Pick up a copy and save it on your iPod Classic. We'll be back very soon. Until then, party on, dudes.